WWF Tag Team Champions Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett, who is accompanied by Deborah, versus Test and D'Lo Brown with Ivory.
Oh.
Worth mentioning, Owen Hart at this point has a month to live.
Yes.
I mean, it really is.
And he's better than everyone else in the ring as well.
He really is. He really is. But it's really, really eerie to think that, who could have known what was around the corner? It would be at the very next pay-per-view, Over the Edge 1999.
Well, you can really see the old back acne on Test.
Yeah.
I know that's why he was called Test.
Yes. there is no other reason why he would have been called Test. His real name's Andrew Martin. Now, Andrew Martin did not say, well, I've had this character for years called Test. It was a bit of an in-joke.
Yeah.
And it was done because Test, he was a remarkable specimen. At the time, everyone was taking odd supplements. And I say supplements, I mean, steroids, human growth hormone, if they could afford it. It's a very, very druggy period of the industry here. Andrew Martin, Test, he has an interesting sort of story. He was huge before he started doing wrestling.
Right.
So he's 6'6", and he'd really worked out. And he was in such good shape that he'd heard from someone that the WWF wrestlers, after they'd had a event, I think at the Sky Dome in Toronto, that they all went to the Planet Hollywood in the complex.
Right.
And so he went along there, and because he looked so much like a professional wrestler, they just let him in.
Right.
And when he was there, he was saying, I'd like to be a professional wrestler. And they were like, oh, I shouldn't really be in here. But you've got a good look. Why don't we put you in touch with someone who can help train you? At the time, Bret Hart was setting up some stuff. He went to see Bret Hart. He ends up getting trained by a lot of different people. He was in a group with Edge and Christian, and they all break into the industry just at the same time. Test comes, he's basically debuted in 1998, so he is a green as green. And they really, really thought they had something very, very special with him. His career was one of underachieving with the gifts that he had. Yeah. He's not bad in the ring. He wasn't bad on the mic. He looked great. He was pushed, but somehow none of it mattered. It just
sometimes works that way, though, doesn't it?
He just didn't get it. And it's impossible to say really why that is. It was just missing that special something. He was there until 2007. Really, he's sort of best remembered for the fact that he used to go out with Stacy Keibler, who at the time was the biggest diva in the world. And then he went out with Kelly Kelly, who was...
Kelly Kelly? I remember Kelly Kelly. Kelly. I think
she had a fairly decent-ish career at the time when women's wrestling was not very important. So she was a divas champion. But she was a very sort of popular diva. There's a funny fact about her, which is that she was so young when she started that she is actually now, even though her career was 11 years ago, she's younger than most of the big stars current, like Charlotte Flair, Natty Neidhart. She's actually younger. So she was impossibly young when she started. And it's absolutely terrible.
Do the maths.
Oh, yeah,
Don't do the maths. Don't stare too hard at the maths.
And I would love for us to go to one of those wild and crazy nightclubs in New York City. But I am only 19. So I guess we can't really go out, but we can stay in.
So Test was around in WWE until 2007, but he was released after he failed a drug test. By 2007, we're post-Benoit, and the attitude has very, very much changed.
Yes.
He announced he was retiring at the end of 2007. In 2008, he had DUI. He was training to be a personal trainer, but they found him dead in 2009 in his condo. He was only 33.
Jesus Christ.
It was an accidental overdose of oxycodone, which is a pain pill. There was a tribute done to him by what at the time was the biggest wrestling site called Slam Wrestling. A guy called Greg Oliver wrote about him. And it's, I mean, you would say, Greg, give it a bit of fucking time. But he wrote, while writing yet another obituary that should not have to be written so early in someone's life, I was surprised to learn often I had interviewed Test Andrew Martin during the initial years of his career. Is it a condemnation of me for not remembering some of the interviews, or the fact that I've done so many? Or is it just the general blandness of Andrew Martin himself?
No! He's not getting an invite to the funeral.
Perhaps that sounds cold a few days after his death, but it also speaks to his in-ring character and persona, which just never hit the heights that many thought, given his look and physique, that he should have. So it's not me being cold. It's Test being awful.
That is dreadful.
Sad story. I mean, Test, again, what's funny is, to me, it seems like Test is a fairly recent death, and it isn't years ago. The very fact that he announced his retirement on his MySpace page.
Wow.
It just is a different era. And
I wonder if you could go back and see his MySpace page.
Have a look.
Oh, we'll have a look.
He made Test, so he died in 2009. He made a comeback in 2016.
What? I'm confused.
He was on a section on E's WAGs program. So in America they have WAGs, Wives and Girlfriends, and it's a big reality show. Kelly Kelly is married to a baseball player who's famous in the States.
Right.
And a medium called Tyler Henry managed to pass on messages from Test to Kelly Kelly, who was absolutely in tears and distraught by it. The message was along the lines of, he just wanted to say that he knows you've moved on. Friday was a big thing. And he sort of goes, what happened on Friday? And she said, when I got married. And he sort of goes, that'll be it. So nice to see Test is back.
Test is back.
Have you ever seen a medium?
No. I don't necessarily believe in all that. Oh, no, me and you saw one in Edinburgh. At the Edinburgh Festival.
I would say that is the best show I've ever seen.
It was
a disaster. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
That's why it was good. If you or I went and did it and we went, we're going to pretend to be mediums and we're just going to guess at these people as to who in their lives is dead, we would have got a better hit ratio than he did.
Oh,
because
massively.
I don't think it's possible to get as much wrong in an hour as he did.
He didn't
get one thing close.
He was going to young women, your daughter?
Yes.
I was like, she's 18,
Do
mate.
you know, he talked to a woman who was sitting there who was about 70, 75.
Yeah.
Little old woman, this is in Edinburgh, little old woman, Scottish grandma, tiny little glasses, little tartan fucking hat. And he said, right, you, getting something from you. He went, right, yeah, it's your mum. And she went, it can't be. And he went, well, it's your mum. She went, it can't be. He said, what do you mean? He said, it's your mum. She went, my mum's alive. He went, how old's your mum? She went, 94. And he went, fucking hell. Marvellous.
I love it.
Marvellous. If you are listening to this and you're a medium, stop it.
Yeah.
That's basically
You're being horrible.
You are being horrible.
You're being rancid.
You're a big parasite.
Calm, my friend, calm. Calm, Michael.
Wow. We will make sure he is okay during the break.
We cut then to see Isaac Hayes in the audience.
We do.
We're going to be seeing a little bit more of him later. And the Mean Street Posse, who are in the front row.
Yeah, they look like STDs. They look like walking STDs.
They are
guys.
supposed to, which is good.
Right,
so
okay. They're sort of preppy, kind of like greasy lads.
They were legitimately friends of Shane McMahon when he was growing up.
Oh,
so
okay,
when he
right.
becomes a wrestler, they put his childhood friends with him like they're a big posse.
I do like this angle of the entitlement and the nepotism kind of thing. It really works because everyone works in a fucking, factory where the foreman's son is here and he's a fucking dickhead. Like, everyone's got that.
They're called the Mean Street Posse because they say they used to sort of roll on the mean streets of Connecticut wearing these horrible pastel jumpers. They look great. What's really funny is this WrestleMania, they hadn't been told really that they were going to do anything more than this. So they were told, come down, we'll dress you up, you get to see WrestleMania, and then X-Pac will hit you and you can fall over. Rodney and Pete Gass are two of them. They were friends of Shane from school. And there are another couple of guys who never appear again. Their names, I've written them down. They were literally there for that match and they disappear. I was thinking the other day, if I was a wrestler, right, they're doing a thing on the network at the minute, which is a sort of like Christmas thing, where wrestlers burst out through a big present.
Right.
And it kind of goes, expect the unexpected. And they go, boof. And there's a different one, like Sasha Banks, and she kind of goes, doot, doot, doot. That's her music. And she does a sort of like move.
Right.
And then you get Finn Balor, so they'll be different. And you're like, ooh, I don't know who it's going to be. And then he'll do that with his leather jacket he's got on. He'll sort of pull the little bit of the collar. And I was thinking, oh, what would I do coming through there? And I thought to myself,
cigarette.
What would it be? And
smoke a cigarette.
I was super aware that I was going, I look like a sort of egg. I look like a panicked egg. And when I looked at my hands, I was just giving the V's. It was pathetic. I'm a star. Look at me. Oh.